Okay, so this episode actually brought us into real time, basically. It really caught us up with where we are now, and it just put all the realism right back into the show. So, it's Queen Sugar. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Queen Sugar. This is season 5, episode 3. Like I said, all the reality and the realism actually got burst into the show on this episode. We are coming up to present day with this whole pandemic thing. First thing out, we see Raw having to shut down. Had to shut down. Yeah, he had to shut down and get rid of some employees. You know, what's going on. Try to figure out what's going to happen going forward. At first, he thought he was going to be okay. And was telling, Darla not to worry too much and everything like that. Like, I got us. We're cool. This, that, thing, and the other. Then we seen Charlie actually discussing with the board and about the quarantine. And there's the little one African-American male. He's pretty much a jerk. It seems as though he always wants to test Charlie. And I think as he's testing her femininity, I think he has some issues. You know, you have those ones that have those issues about her being, baby, she's your equal. She's your equal. And that's what I get from him. The few times we've seen him, it seems like he's always tested her. But she's your equal. And maybe you may not actually be her equal. Get into it. Anyway, but he was trying it, and he gonna throw out to her, Vi's shop is open where everybody's supposed to be closed. I seen activity in there. And that's what she told me. You don't know what you're even talking about. She does more for people in her community than you probably do for yours. You don't know what you're talking about. Meanwhile, she wasn't open. She was actually feeding the sick and the shut-in. She's preparing things with the food and stuff that she had instead of letting it go to waste, which made all the sense in the world. Instead of letting it go to waste, she was creating meals, and it was sort of like a Meals on Wheels thing. You know, they got a lot of elderly folk down there in St. Joe's. So she was basically feeding the sick and the shut-in. And Nova and Hollywood, they were delivering and keeping it totally contactless, but helping to feed the people and making sure that people were okay. They really were doing their part, calling around, keeping in touch with people, and, doing the things that people who are good in the community do. People who actually care. Because that's the thing. A lot of communities, people don't care. People are right in their houses, and they couldn't tell you 2 things about the person next door. They don't care. That's the way life used to be, when everybody cared about everybody. When everybody cared about everybody else's kids. Did you really need a babysitter? The whole neighborhood was babysitting. You know what I mean? That was the way things used to be. That's 40 years ago, 40, 50 years ago. That's when there was a village. The village raised the kids. Not now. You can't even trust the village with your kids. You know what I mean? Things have changed. And not for the good. Like I said, that guy always seems to take digs at Charlie to me. And I think he feels I think she makes him feel a little insecure. I think he has a problem with her femininity. But that's your problem. That ain't her problem, bruh. Anyway, so Ralph Angel and Darla were talking. He kept telling her, you got to trust me. And she was like, well, you could go to Charlie for a loan. He said, I'm not going to run. I'm a grown man with a family, and I'm not going to jump up and always run to Charlie for no loan and all of that. So just cut that off. She don't handle pressure well. She still got some growing up to do. She don't handle pressure well. She's so used to running to her parents or running to somebody. Somebody always bailing her out, that Darla. So, but yeah, I'm liking that Raw is really maturing. And that's what I'm actually seeing. Maturing a lot and taking on a lot of his daddy's ways, which is good. Anyway, moving on. Aunt Vi and Charlie. Charlie sits Aunt Vi down. She tells her, I didn't know you were actually in the shop doing this, that, and the other, but listen, we can't do it no more. Because I don't want you to get caught up because there are inspectors coming around and they're actually shutting people down. So just voluntarily leave it alone. I know what you're trying to do. Good thing, fight the good fight, but just leave it alone. I don't want you to get caught up in no mess. You know. Then there's Micah. She told her, Aunt Vi told her Micah, she said, Micah's coming home. Things that got too tight up there then got rough. Micah coming home. She said, I want you to remember, Micah is an adult. He's grown. He's grown. And it's hard to be under another person's roof after being on your own. So I'm just getting in your business a little bit to tell you that. Mr. Prosper. Mr. Prosper is petrified. He is. He's terrified. He is terrified. And he's got himself locked up in his house. He really don't want to talk to nobody. He going through. He really is going through. He really is. Because see, Mr. Prosper looked death in the face last season. And he ain't ready to go back there. I understand it. I understand. There's a feeling about having a whole second chance at life when you've actually looked death in the face. And, like me personally, I don't have a fear of dying. I don't have a fear of, I had cancer. Cancer could come back at any time. She's sneaky like that. She'll try to slide up on you. I don't fear cancer coming back. I've been through it once, and I have no problem with fighting again. I will have no problem with it. I'll never throw in the towel. I'll never just let cancer just take me down. I'm just not. But it ain't something I really want to do. Like, I ain't going to go jump out the street like, come on, cancer, bitch, come get me. No. But I'm not afraid to fight the fight again. But I'd rather not. And I think that's like, but Prosper, he's like, I did good the first time around. I got a second shot at this. I ain't even trying to know. I ain't trying to go there. So, with, this whole thing. So, I feel where Prosper is. He's just afraid. And then he's watching that news. And the news is still like that right now in our real lives. The news is depressing. You look at it, it just sounds so hopeless. Even when they're like, we got the vaccine and all this stuff down. But it still just has just a overshadow of hopelessness. Like, is this ever going to be over? It is a lot. It's a lot to take in. And if you sit in front of the TV, and y'all pay attention to what I'm getting ready to say off the show. It's real life. And y'all know I don't really mess with the politics of things too much. Don't sit in front of your TVs. And, we're like partially quarantined now. Like, we're not totally locked in the house now. I beg you, don't just sit. I mean, definitely stay informed of what's going on, but don't sit 24 hours looking at the news and all the things that's coming out that they're talking about, because it can become very overwhelming. And to live in fear, that's a whole disease of itself. Protect your mind space. Okay? Okay, back to the show. That's what's going on with Mr. Prosper. Okay? So, that's that. Hollywood. Hollywood and his mama. She's so cute. He's FaceTiming with her, and she had a little cough, and he was getting kind of worried about her and everything. But she's telling him, boy, everything's all right. I'm fine. She's like, everything is not the Rona. It gets dry around here every now and again. And she's of a certain age and things like that. So we kept seeing her and him, and he's worried about her. So that's that. Charlie and Micah. He gets home. She's making a whole effort to not treat him like a kid, and finds out ain't no more Kiki. Miss Kiki done broke. He said Kiki broke up with him, and she has a whole nother guy. See, I think there's more to that story. I don't take nothing that Micah says at face value. Knowing Micah, Kiki probably don't even know that they broke up. He probably still mad about the little boy with the smoothie stand. And she probably ain't seen the little boy since the day they was at the smoothie stand. Micah wears my nerves. But he say ain't no Kiki. He talking to other girls on the phone and everything. One little girl he talked to on the phone, she was spazzing all out about Charlie Bordelon being his mother and all that. I'm like, child, mess. Anyway, he's draining. Micah and Darla are two people on the show that I just say, okay, whatever. Anyway, moving on. There was an outbreak at Darla's job and she got laid off. Okay. Raw ended up, he was selling, we showed how real things had gotten, where he thought he was really cool, was money wise. Time has gone on and it's lasting, like we all thought it was going to be a few weeks, and the time has stretched out. We've seen him, he had to sell one of his tractors and he's bartering back and forth with the guy, white guy, and the white guy. He says, he say, I'm not trying to get over on you, man. I'm really not. He's like, it's all I got. And he actually went, he's his daddy's child. He went on and gave the tractor to the man. Took like $1,500 loss on it or whatever and everything like that. It's like everybody, it ain't even about a black and white thing. It ain't about Mexican versus African American. Everybody is seeing a hard time. It's just getting really, really real. Nova ended up talking to Calvin. She had gone over to the house when they were delivering, and she had a little run-in with Mr. Prosper, and he was very short with her, which kind of, Nova's very in tune. It kind of startled her, and she said she was praying, because she was over there meditating and praying, and so she was praying for Prosper and everything like that, and Calvin started to share some of the issues and the hardships that was happening on his other side, how his children were really kind of going stir crazy, and they're a little scared in the house, and they're all of that. So again, it's rough on everybody, and that's what they were actually showing. Darla and Raw actually ended up having this conversation, and I know I'm jumping around, that's how we were doing. We were going from house to house, and we were basically really just seeing the pandemic at play and how it plays in everybody's emotional and their psyche and their actual living situation. That's what this whole episode was about. Anyway, we're over at Darla and Ralph Angels, and they're talking about, he said, I'm going to get a regular job. I'm just going to, it's nice to be self-employed, but that ain't working right now. I'm going to go and get me a regular job. And he said the bills is starting to build up and everything. So then we seen him go, and he went to this job interview. Do you all remember what I was telling you all last week? Remember when I said that when Charlie was over at the house helping Darla with her skills to apply for a job, that Raw was in the background taking notes and really paying attention to the things that Charlie was saying. And we saw him put that into effect. He was using all the skills that Charlie was giving to Darla, and he killed that interview. I was so proud of him, like he was my little brother. He killed that interview. When the lady threw it out there, was like, I know people's bills is behind it. That ain't what we're looking for. We're a service industry, and this is about care for patients. And that's what we're looking for. We're not looking for people who just want to work to try to make ends meet. We're looking for people who actually care about people. And baby, he got the rambling back and forth with her and doing all the things that Charlie said and let her know, you'd be lucky to have me. I'm a boss, just like you're a boss. So I know what a good employee looks like. I said, you better goddamn do it, Ralph Angel. He killed that job interview. I had a tear in my eye. He was so good at that job interview. That lady, because they were giving him the whole, we'll go through things and we're going to call you. Baby, she told him, honey, can you start tomorrow? He killed that job interview. Killed it. I was so proud of him. Anyway, then we had another conversation with Hollywood and Vi. Hollywood was saying, he was worried about Prosper because he couldn't get Prosper on the phone. Prosper ain't answering the phone now. He ain't answering the phone and carrying on. And also his mom. And he was saying how he couldn't get in touch with his mom for a couple of days. And Vi said, you need to go ahead and drive on up there, see about your mama. And the lady, one of her friends said, she's seen her and that she was okay, but, she just seemed a little lethargic. I was like, oh, baby, I'd have been in the car. Lethargic and folks over 60, recipe for disaster. So he said he was going to head out, said he was going to stop and see Prosper first, first thing in the morning. But Prosper still wasn't answering. And then the last thing that we actually saw, Prosper actually was sitting there and the phone kept ringing and he thought it was Hollywood, still bugging him. And he answered it and it wasn't, it was Nova. And Nova, he apologized to Nova about being short with her and everything like that. She told him, there's no need to do that, Mr. Prosper. I understand what's going on, but I've been praying for you. And I knew something was, going on. And he's like, oh, he was kind of like doing the little brush off thing like you do with, because she's a little girl to him, And then she asked him, would he listen? That damn Nova is so in tune. I would have loved to meet their mother. Because Nova, from what I understand, Nova is more like the mother. Bra is a lot like the father. And then Charlie is like the rap of her mother and their father. She got the smarts of her mother and the heart of her father. So, she had a different mother. I would love to have I wish they could do some back footage of Trudy so we could actually see her. She just seems so awesome to me. But anyway, so she knew exactly what to say and how to get in to Mr. Prosper. And she asked him if he would listen to some stuff that she had written about an article that was coming up and if she could actually interview him for the article and he could help her out with it. And right in that moment, she got in and she reached him. And he didn't feel so alienated. He actually felt a part of, and that is one of the issues about this pandemic. There are a lot of people who don't do well with the separation. There's a lot of people in the world that are fine being by themselves. I enjoy my alone time. I really do. I enjoy me. I promise you. I love, I got me a handful of subscribers. And I love you guys to death. I love interacting with you. I love talking to you. But I could tell you, honestly, without even flinching, I enjoy time with me more than with any other human that there is. I enjoy my time alone and just, thinking out what I got going on and doing the things that make me happy. And, I have a lot of talents that actually, I have to do alone. You know what I mean? So I enjoy my time with myself. I said all the time, I'll go out to dinner by myself and have no issue with that. I have a ball. Go to movies by myself. I actually prefer it. Now, I'm good for a date, like a little company, the little comfort of a man, honey. But, child, I enjoy me a whole lot more. This is what it is. But everybody ain't built that way. Everybody ain't built that way. Some people are made to be around other people. And if they're not, it messes them up. And there's a lot of that going on. Child, you can see a lot of it down here on social media. But that's shade. We ain't even gonna get into it. That's another thing for another time, honey. Anyway, that is it for right now. Yeah, this is Queen Sugar. It was deep. This, sometimes you get an episode there ain't a whole lot of drama. It's just deep and it do a lot of pulling on you. This was one of those episodes, but it was really good, really well written, really, really well acted out, and I enjoyed it. And I will see you all next week. See y'all in the comments. We're gonna talk in them comments. I'll see y'all in the comments later.